You're listening to Get Abstract, the world's biggest collection of summaries.
This is a summary of the Psychological Safety Playbook, a book by Minette Norman and Karolin Helbig. In their concise and insightful guidebook, consultants Karolin Helbig and Minette Norman offer 25 actionable tips leaders can implement immediately to improve psychological safety at work. They outline 5 skills leaders must harness to do so: communication, listening, emotional regulation, managing failure, and inclusion. Each of the 5 skills is handily accompanied by 5 ways to implement them. Accessible and inspiring, this handbook fills a long-standing gap in the literature on psychological safety, exactly how to nurture it in relationships, teams, and cultures. Okay, let's hear takeaway number 1. Everyone needs to feel psychologically safe to reach their full potential. After studying hundreds of teams, Google's Project Aristotle found that psychological safety was the most important element in group success. When people feel psychologically safe, they can ask questions, pose ideas, state concerns, and admit mistakes without fear of being humiliated or punished. Psychological safety leads to more inclusive, innovative, and high-performing cultures. As a leader, your role is to set the tone, ensure everyone feels valued, and create an environment where people feel safe to contribute ideas, express dissent, and challenge you when necessary. Model the behavior you seek, including listening, humility, trust, and openness to criticism, to encourage the same actions in others. Time for the second takeaway. Communicate courageously. Welcome diverse viewpoints, and don't insist on your own. When leaders drop the need to be right all the time and actively invite other points of view, they foster a psychologically safe environment that enhances innovation and outcomes. First, invite varied viewpoints. Welcome a variety of perspectives. This will make people feel valued and minimize conformity bias and groupthink. In meetings, invite feedback and ask, "What am I missing?" Set aside time for responses and keep your door open for private discussions. However, you'll need to balance diverse inputs with practical deadlines. Second, encourage dissent. Foster an environment of healthy dissent. Focus on challenging ideas rather than criticizing people. For example, you can say, "That's one viewpoint. Now let's hear some dissent." Thank those who share their ideas. To encourage diversity of thought, assign someone the role of devil's advocate. Provide various ways of giving feedback: surveys, emails, informal chats, to ensure input from everyone. Third, display feelings productively. Develop skills to better express your emotions. Skillful expression means finding the middle ground between strong emotional outbursts, which can harm psychological safety, and being emotionally non-reactive, which can do the same. Start by noticing how different emotions affect your body. If you notice a strong emotion rising, take a break and a few deep breaths to reduce stress and anxiety. Then give a calm and productive answer. Fourth, shed perfectionism. Don't pretend to be perfect. Leaders should admit where they don't know something. Demonstrate your own vulnerability to create a space where workers feel comfortable asking questions and seeking answers. Aim to be a servant leader rather than one who's an expert at everything. When you don't know the answer to a question, admit it. Commit to finding out more and ask others for help if needed. To promote a culture of continuous learning, celebrate good questions and give others credit for great answers. And finally, be funny. Make space for humor. It can boost well-being and performance by building connection and trust. Turn on your humor radar and pay attention to funny details in daily life. Collect and refine those items, then share them with colleagues. All right, here's the third takeaway. Improve your listening skills to help others feel understood. Skillful listening involves clarifying your understanding of others' perspectives and tuning into the emotions behind what they say. First, listen mindfully. Mindful listening strengthens your humility, builds empathy, and leads to better decision-making. Remember, you can accept the validity of someone else's viewpoint without agreeing with it. Second, participate fully. Turn off external distractions and focus solely on your conversation partner. When your mind wanders, notice and label the thought, feeling, or sensation. Then let it go and refocus on the other person. Paraphrase your understanding of what they said. Then share your own perspective and allow others to do the same. Finally, ask, what's the best way forward? Third, clarify what you've heard. To reduce miscommunication and boost engagement, paraphrase and summarize what you think you've heard in your own words. Then let the other person clarify or add extra information. Deepen the conversation by asking, what makes you think that way? Fourth, tune in to others' emotions. Pay attention to other people's emotions too. Emotions are crucial to decision-making, but people rarely state them clearly. To identify them, look closely at micro-expressions, gestures, and body language. State what you think the person is feeling, and then ask for confirmation and clarity about why they may or may not feel that way. Show empathy without judgment. And fifth, demonstrate curiosity. Develop curiosity about others and their perspectives. Say, tell me more, and encourage people to elaborate on their perspectives and thoughts. Instead of jumping right in with your response, allow a moment of silence that invites the speaker to engage further. We've now reached takeaway number 4. Regulate your emotional reactions so workers feel safe to challenge you. Practice managing your reactions so you don't automatically shut people down when they challenge you. First, respond non-defensively. Emotional regulation requires self-awareness and emotional control, as well as sincere appreciation for your challenger. Learn to notice your defensive reactions early on, and then hit pause. Take a few deep breaths, relax your body, and respond constructively by asking follow-up questions to learn more. Second, react calmly and objectively. Take control of your emotions by labeling them with your logical mind. Be objective. State what, where, and when you feel an emotion without judgment. Strong emotions such as happiness, sadness, or fear can be easy to identify, but subtler ones may require more work to unpack. Print out a useful list of emotions, such as the one in Susan David's Emotional Agility, and keep it nearby. Third, take off your blinders. Everyone has blind spots. To deconstruct them, search for alternative perspectives before you jump to conclusions. The brain prefers fast and automatic thinking, but that can reinforce cognitive biases. View your first conclusion as a work in progress. To gain a broader perspective, look for contradictory evidence and missing data. Fourth, value people who challenge you. Express grace and gratitude toward your challengers. The fight, flight, freeze response occurs automatically in life-threatening situations, but it can also be triggered in non-fatal situations, like when someone challenges you. Recognize and label your emotional and physiological responses to being challenged. Then breathe deeply and move toward confrontation rather than away from it. Remind yourself of the values and goals you share. And fifth, learn from new ideas. To promote motivation and creativity, avoid negative and judgmental reactions to new ideas. Instead, build on them. Don't say no right away. Instead, say yes and. Then finish the sentence in a way that others can modify or build on your thoughts. And treat new proposals as valuable experiments to test within a larger learning loop. Let's continue. Here's takeaway 5. Make it safe to take risks and fail. Then employees feel free to learn and innovate. How leaders deal with risk and failure affects workers' psychological safety and the overall tone of an organization. First, welcome failure. When you try something new, you're likely to fail in the beginning. Embrace risk-taking and failure to boost your learning process. Foster honest conversations and achieve better results. Ultimately, failure can enhance performance outcomes. Second, learn from failure. Frame failure as part of the journey toward innovation and success. Let others know failure is normal, and the goal is to share what you learn from coming up short. Share stories of famous people's failures to illustrate how high performers overcame and learned from setbacks. Adopt a growth mindset yourself and encourage it in others. Reduce people's fear of failure by positioning it as a valuable source of data and learning. Ask helpful questions such as, what does this experience tell us? Reward people for their curiosity and courage. Third, befriend uncomfortable emotions. Innovation and resilience require embracing difficult emotions. When discomfort arises, stay calm, pause, and take a few deep breaths. Create distance by labeling your emotions. Talk to yourself in the second person to gain objectivity. Befriend your inner critic, but don't identify with its criticisms. Move from simple awareness of difficult emotions to full-on acceptance and appreciation of them. Fourth, showcase learning behavior. When you're wrong, admit it and share what you've learned. Your actions will encourage others to do the same. Reflect on your recent mistakes. Extract 3 key insights and share them with others. Adjust how much detail you give based on the person and situation. And fifth, facilitate continual learning. Celebrate the learning that comes from failure and mistakes. Help employees understand why failure occurred and how to remedy it. Conduct regular blame-free postmortems, reviews to discuss errors and missteps without judgment. Use neutral questions to analyze exactly what happened. Avoid resorting to shame and blame. Focus on how much learning took place. Experiment with pre-mortems too. Imagine your next project has failed and brainstorm reasons why it might happen. Reward the people who identify potential flaws in a plan. Now for the 6th and final takeaway. Design inclusive rituals and gather feedback to encourage everyone's participation. Hiring a diverse team doesn't automatically lead to an inclusive culture. To encourage contributions from everyone, adopt rituals that support full participation. First, nominate an inclusion booster. At meetings, appoint an inclusion booster to ensure everyone gets a chance to speak. This moderator can keep track of how long each person speaks, intervene when someone dominates the conversation, invite others to contribute, and clarify anything that seems obscure. If the group quickly converges on one idea, the moderator should ask for alternatives. Pass this role around to allow different people to learn by performing it. Second, respect everyone's voice. Establish a no interruption rule and encourage people to speak concisely so others have time to talk as well. When someone does interrupt, jump in with a quick, "Please let the speaker finish their point." If certain individuals have a habit of interrupting, speak with them in private and focus on how their interruptions affect others. Model inclusive listening behavior. Third, ensure all can speak. To foster innovation and avoid groupthink, set a rule that no one speaks twice until everyone speaks once. During meetings, move from speaker to speaker and use a visual timer to keep everyone concise. Give each person an opportunity to speak without interruption. If someone isn't ready to speak, circle back to that person later. Use an online collaboration tool to bring all the ideas together. Fourth, assemble feedback. Gather post-meeting feedback to promote accountability and measure progress. Involve team members to determine the best way to collect, analyze, and act on feedback. Keep all responses confidential. And finally, convey appreciation. Regularly express gratitude toward workers. Thank people for their work, for asking difficult questions, and for challenging prevailing ideas. Celebrate those who've tackled a hard problem and honor those who've shared what they learned or got wrong. That was a summary of the Psychological Safety Playbook, a book by Minette Norman and Karolin Helbig. Here's the 6 takeaways once more. Takeaway 1. Everyone needs to feel psychologically safe to reach their full potential. Takeaway 2. Communicate courageously. Welcome diverse viewpoints and don't insist on your own. Takeaway number 3. Improve your listening skills to help others feel understood. Takeaway 4. Regulate your emotional reactions so workers feel safe to challenge you. Takeaway 5. Make it safe to take risks and fail. Then employees feel free to learn and innovate. And finally, takeaway 6, design inclusive rituals and gather feedback to encourage everyone's participation.
You've been listening to a summary by Get Abstract. For more summaries on this and related topics, visit our app and website,